Welcome to How to Decorate from Ballard Designs, a weekly podcast all about the trials and triumphs of decorating and redecorating your home. I'm Caroline. I'm on the marketing team.
And I'm Taryn, and I'm a product designer.
I'm Liz. I head up the creative team.
We're your hosts. Join the expert team at Ballard Designs for tips, tricks, and tales from interior designers, stylists, and other talents in the design world.
Plus, we'll answer your decorating dilemmas at the end of each episode.
We love answering your questions, so don't forget to email us at podcast@ballarddesigns.net.
Now, on with the show.
Well, my team is back, and
Yay.
we're here to share trends with you guys. So I know last year we came and really spoke about, you peppered us with tons of questions, Caroline, on like what was in and out, and you listed things like rattan and colors and materials, and it was really...
I did not bring a list today.
Okay. Well, luckily we did our research, so we're ready for it. We thought we would start this episode just really talking about color, because color really sets the tone for kind of what we do. Wouldn't you guys say?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yes.
And really that leads into the fabrics, that leads into the shapes and forms. So we thought we'd talk about what everyone's predicting for colors for 2025. So, just like last year, we really lean on Fashion Snoops and WGSN for their color predicting. But on top of it, we've been doing some research just on House Beautiful and Decor and all the big publications, and really seeing what they're thinking colors, of course, too. And Pantone, because we can even start with that if you guys want. So yeah, the Pantone color of the year is
Mocha Mousse.
Yes, Mocha Mousse. So by now, anyone listening knows, because it came out a few months ago, which is really exciting because last time we talked about how brown and its resurgence, and Mocha Mousse is brown, but it's also got a lot of depth there. So,
Also, Taryn, you and I both use that paint color in our house.
I know.
We're so ahead of
I know, we're so ahead. It does go kind of mauve-y. It kind of goes kind of clay. It's really one of those colors that, how would you describe it? It's a red undertoned brown.
Ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's
I think it
mousse.
is more mauve than brown, personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's just me. It's called Mocha Mousse. They obviously think it's brown, but
Yeah.
to me, it reads mauve.
But it pairs really nicely with like a really dark brown, or even just kind of a more neutral, I'm going to say the B word, beige. So I feel like it pairs really nicely with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And the depth and the pinks in there really kind of make it look lovely. Yeah.
It's also a mid-tone, which
we talked about.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes they're either really dark or really light. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
And we definitely mentioned that last time, that mid-tones are really where it's at. It's not super pastel-y.
Saturation.
So that middle tone is really what we're seeing a lot of colors in these days. And the other part that we have mentioned prior, because again, trends don't change that much, guys, but is just really earthy colors. And I think Mocha Mousse is a perfect example of like, that is an earthy color you feel like you could find somewhere on this earth naturally. So I think that color plays into this year, and we need to be prepared to continue to see those earthy tones. And why don't but we're going to start with kind of this time of year, because everybody's getting ready for spring, because, we're in the throes of winter, and when you're in there.
Snowed here twice. So.
You want that sunshine.
Ready for sunshine.
Okay, wait. Do you want to introduce your team real quick?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Anyone who missed
Yes.
last year's. Yes,
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, okay.
First, we have Hillary,
Hi.
who's been on the team for how many years now?
7.
7, yes. And then we have Will.
The best.
Yes, that's what I meant to call him.
I'm almost 3 years in.
Yes.
And
So,
what categories do both of you do? I know you'll all kind of dabble a little bit, but
Yeah.
do you have? Yeah.
This is Hillary. I'm predominantly upholstery and outdoor.
I do electrical. Lighting? I do not do any electrical. I do lighting, some case goods, and dining and kitchen furniture, along with Taryn.
so, each of us definitely does helps each other. So it's definitely not split correct, specifically like that. But we kind of have our categories we semi-own. So,
well, it seems, I feel like
yeah.
it's as far as trends too, y'all probably all have different trends. Maybe you're using more depending on the category versus others. Like you're going to be paying more attention to metals because of the lighting, whereas
or glass material.
So
versus,
I feel like it's kind of interesting from a category perspective.
I just want to call out for our listeners too that between the three of you, like you make up the majority of everything that we sell at Ballard.
Yes. Y'all design
things that you'll never find anywhere else because it comes from you all. So thank you.
I know that's really cool. And okay, I know we're going to talk about our spring collection, which just launched, but there were 900 products in our spring collection, and that is a wild number.
I know
a
you've
lot
been
of
busy.
love.
Some of it is like colored, various colors and stuff, but still, that's a lot of stuff that y'all are cranking out. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. Do you feel like they're introduced?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I want to make sure. I know it's a good call. Not everyone was introduced last time. Yes.
Let's talk about this.
Well, let's simplify it.
Will's favorite color is... No, I'm kidding. Why don't we start with kind of the springy colors that we really were gravitating towards? Because again, we do all these color predicting and forecasters, but what works for us and our customer and what are we loving? And so these colors really speak to it. So maybe, Will, you want to call it like your favorite of the spring?
So I think for our spring collection, we looked at some evergreen pastels that are not really saturated, but more on that muted side that we've talked about. So you have lots of shades of green. And I mean, that's a spectrum of grass and like the pine, things like that have been muted down, but they're still classified as a pastel, and it's just perfect for spring.
I think another important color for the season was our kind of move towards a coral color. So in the past, we've kind of done more of a pink, kind of stemming from that Barbiecore, that millennial pink, Barbiecore. So now it's more of a coral peony color with a little bit of orange in it. We've also got some, I was going to say, mango-esque colors. Just real fun, peachy.
You might remember Pantone's color last year is peach fuzz. So that really kind of influenced how this year looked, I believe, kind of seeing how that kind of flew. And so we took it and we kind of made the colors lean a little more on that orange kind of blush color, So we called one of the colors this season is peony, like we said, which is super happy and fresh. And I think it's our customer and I hope she loves it.
We also used, I was thinking about the peach fuzz color. I feel like there's not as much in terms of product, but we did use it a ton in paint colors.
Because it was a lot in the wall colors this year.
It really set off a lot of the colors of the product in a really pretty way. So I thought that was kind of like, it wasn't necessarily, I think, we did plan it because we picked it, but we weren't like, okay, we're going to use peach as the wall color. But in looking for a good wall color to sort of capture the mood, it really sort of worked for a lot of different spaces.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the wall colors we ended up using end up being a little bit toned down to the colors that you all came to us with this year too. And I'm super excited about all the peony. I mean, we have our Dana chair, which is such a classic Chippendale chair that is coming large and in charge in peony.
Yeah.
And then
stools.
Yeah. Side chairs.
You won't miss it.
You won't miss it. It's so fun. And then our Capri collection, the bookcases, coffee tables.
And that kind of grass color even. Yeah.
Right. So that texture and depth in those pieces is really lovely.
Yeah.
In that peony.
There's also a sconce that's pink. That's really pretty, and I don't even know if we showed it. I know it. I think we showed it in blue, but
sconce?
Yeah, and it's like a two-tone sconce is pretty.
And I think it's peony.
Yeah.
So lots of color this spring. We're just really leaning on this layered look and all these pops color. And as always, don't worry, anyone listening, blue is still strong. We're still feeling like the kind of really cornflower color, where it's a little bit punchier than a French blue, but it's not a cerulean. It's nicely between and just such a happy tone. So we definitely continued to have a lot of product in that too. So and it's still what they're saying is on for 2025. So that is kind of what we're leaning on towards spring. And I know we all feel differently too as we get into fall. So we wanted to talk about too, like some of the deeper colors that we're excited about too. Hillary, you want to start with what's your favorite?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of the seasons, like we kind of transitioned the spring palette into more of an earthy color. So we have this beautiful, deep lavender color that we're really excited that we're seeing in all different types of market. We also have a chocolate, our little ode to mocha mousse, but we have it a little bit of a deeper, richer color, and that's primarily because in our use, we'll use it as more of like a stain than like a paint color. We have a beautiful, rich green that we're introducing that has more of a grassy tone to it. And then we have like an ochre yellow. So our bright, punchy yellow went more of a deep not rust, but corn. Yeah. We'll also say goldenrod kind of color. And then our peony turned to more of like a terracotta, clay, real rusty color.
We're excited. You can't forget about teal.
And teal.
Teal. Yeah.
Yeah. We think teal, it's predicted that teal will be an important color this year, according to all the trend forecasts. So we definitely added a little bit of that in, which is a fun play because teal is between blue and green. So it's one of those wonderful colors that, like, if you're in between and you're like, I don't know what color I want, teal's kind of a fun one.
It goes great. Yeah, it goes great with greens. It goes great with blues. And then
Definitely.
I feel like any jewel tone in the fall is like so yummy.
Yeah.
And all the wood tones that we keep talking about, how we love brown furniture, like a teal like makes it pop and sing.
I love your top because your top, it's like chocolate and then you've got the teal and the green. And we've all seen our fall sort of inspirations. And so I'm really excited about fall and all the chocolate brown because there's some really good chocolate browns in there. So I'm really glad that chocolate brown is back. I feel like maybe 15 years ago, it was like pretty big as far as a neutral. And then we haven't seen it much at all. And I'm happy it's back personally.
Yeah.
It's a much better neutral for me personally.
As a brunette.
Brunette. Exactly.
Yes.
But it also pairs so nicely with all of the bright colors that we have going for spring. Like we have so much going on with like raspberries in our bedding this time around. And I feel like
the raspberry is fun. I love it. I forgot about the raspberry.
Raspberry's really good.
Yeah, it's
really good.
Well, go ahead.
So speaking of teal, we have bedding that I think we launched this past season, but we're moving even further with it. It's a teal embroidery with the like a mocha mousse pinstripe. It's Abilene.
Abilene.
And I feel like it is again. It's that
it's so pretty.
melding of
it is
like
so
a very
pretty
soft color with a very vibrant color is.
That is a
lot of fun. It's so
and
pretty.
It's pillows and drapes too.
Yes.
Yeah. The drapery is really, really pretty. I love that one. That was one of my favorite things.
It's beautiful. It's one of our favorites.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it in all of our homes.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just was thinking about that.
Well, actually, I think that's a great point because I did feel like this season, the spring season, and going into fall, we did a lot of blue, but we also added lots of accent colors into it, which I think we're seeing more of. I mean, us like working in photography, not us as like in trend, but just combining colors and seeing how they play off one another instead of just doing a blue and white room. It's blue and white with yellow or blue and white with green, and adding that third color kind of like mixes it up a little bit and adds a little something new.
It's like a nice ground because it in itself is a brown shade, but it really does kind of just disappear behind this beautiful embroidery of blue flowers and green leaves that are just. That's really pretty.
And it goes back to that layered maximal. I think that's why everyone is adding, like blue and white felt safe. it felt good. And then like, again, as we've gotten more and more brave in color, I think people are like, well, what goes with my blue and white? You know, what can I, continue to pack layer, those rooms. So.
Okay. I want to talk about lampshades because I feel like
specifically lampshades. Yes.
Yeah, no, because we're talking about color, and there is a new ECAT pleated shade that we have that is yellow.
Yellow.
It is yellow.
I like the way
with,
you said that.
with ochre, and it just has so much dimension to it. And every place we put it in photography, it just kind of sang.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it pulled everything together, even in rooms that like there were maybe we went a little bit adventurous with the number of colors that we had in the rooms, whether it was like a green sofa or mixed with a blue sofa and a yellow lampshade. It was really great to see it pull all of those things together. And I think that that's a really easy way to bring those colors into our homes too.
Definitely. And it's yellow's, I think, been kind of hard for our customer just because it's like not really been in the typical palette. So I'm excited to see that. Sorry, Ellery.
No, I was just gonna say, Liz, are you calling it the new like red effect? Where
remember that trend? Papa red?
Yeah, right.
Papa yellow?
The pop of yellow is really kind of lovely.
Maybe you call it for 2025.
Called it. Done.
There was a bedroom we put together for spring that has blue and white and like wood toned woods. Or I'm sorry, dark chocolate toned woods. And there was some accents of yellow in there. And the yellow, I feel like, looks so good with blue. It looks so good with green. And it looks so good with pink. And it kind of like,
I mean,
gives everything a little bit of extra energy, which I think is
those daffodils are going to be popping up soon. I mean, that's kind of, if you kind of think about it like that, like, just that little hint is really, really joyful.
Yeah. And I think if you need energy in a room, like if you are feeling that, I think it's the same way red adds that energy. Like that's why they're saying like all of a sudden you're like, whoa. I think yellow has that intensity that it can bring again.
Yeah.
To help with that.
Red's like a friendlier, like red, I'm sorry, yellow is like a friendlier way to do it. I don't know. Red, I feel like sometimes it's like a show stealer. You know what I mean? Where you add it in and it's like, oh, now all I'm seeing is the red. Whereas I feel like yellow is kind of like.
It's friendlier.
Yeah,
it'll work well with others.
Yeah, it's not like as bright because it's yellow, but it's not as.
Doesn't yellow stop?
Well, it's like red, yellow, green. It's that in between, the nice slow down before we get to the actual level.
Yeah, there you go.
For yield.
It's the yellow light.
It's the yellow light. I like it. So then, I mean, I think this leads straight into kind of just talking what we're seeing to just with actual trends, which is the fun part, guys. Anyone listening, if you've been on TikTok or Instagram or follow any of the, big shelter publications, there's always, from Good Housekeeping to Decor to Architecture or Architectural Digest, everyone has these fun lists of like what's in, what's out. And it's, everyone's different take, and it's so fun to follow. So we kind of picked some trends to talk about just because they're super fun to talk about. And one of our favorites, which is this came up last year because Little Mermaid came out. And then all of a sudden, there was all this shell stuff, that resurgence of shell motifs. And anyway, so we started with like a coastal chic because we saw that trend and we were like, that would fit, like that's super fun. Everybody loves the coastal home. Everyone loves, really that beach vibe.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
It's usually casual. And it's usually, again, just peaceful. There's usually blues involved. Sometimes that peachy or coral, peony color. So coastal chic, do you guys have, what's your take on coastal chic?
I mean, I think you said it all, but it also, when you go to like a beach house and you step in and all of a sudden you're calm, and then you're also like rejuvenized because it's like bright colors and textures, rattan and seagrass.
You're comfortable. It's happy.
I mean, there's some way, there's like all your memories of going to the beach. You have that happy feeling. So it gives off all that.
That one's a tricky one, I feel like, sometimes, because I feel like coastal chic can
Get tacky.
Make me
Negative
think of
connotations?
like it can go a little kitschy.
Yeah.
I really like the way y'all have sort of threaded it through. Like there's some cute little shell bookends. There's this new lighting collection that's really
The
fun.
plaster one with the ball.
Catalina,
palm.
yes,
Mhm.
I think it's called Catalina, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's a way to do coastal chic, even if you are nowhere near the coast, and it's not like too on the nose and too. It's not kitschy at all,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
think is nice.
I think that is hard and probably what people put in their mind. But I think the word chic after helps you to realize that you want to keep this glamorous. This
Right.
is,
Keep
this
it elevated,
is-
people.
Yes. There's no fake sand in the home.
No.
Right,
no.
Yeah. So painted
beach
painted
hut, no
floors.
beach. This way
We're
you're
living,
lattice,
laughing,
yes.
loving internally only.
Yeah.
Got it.
There are no word signs. Yep.
You can
yep.
think
Mhm, mhm.
don't put it on your wall.
Another fun one, which we all talk about all the time on the podcast,
Core.
is hosting core.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
So
excited.
yeah,
I
well,
am.
he loves to host. He knows
I have
setting
dinner
a
parties
table.
all the time.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's such a great way to not only be with your friends, but feed them. And just the camaraderie of it all is just so, it takes that coastal chic comfort and it's bringing it into being the ability to host with people that you care about.
Ina, Martha Stewart's
mean-
documentary,
Love
bringing
Martha.
it back. Yes.
So hosting core is just all things hosting, having people over. So what we're very into, and we talk about a lot on the podcast.
I
do.
feel like we need, especially, I know we're many years post-COVID now, but especially post-COVID,
Mhm.
and like everyone needs a little break from your screen, have people over, you put your phones away, you're not watching
Mhm.
television. I mean, I guess you can watch television a little bit, maybe if there's a game, but like cook, chat,
Well, and I
everybody
think
needs
people
a little bit of that.
got into cooking and making things. So this is really truly about also like, this isn't necessarily going to a restaurant and meeting up at a restaurant. This is like bringing people into your home and
Yeah.
crafting that experience to whatever it is. If you brought in pizza and then setting a pretty table, which again,
But it's fun. Like,
yeah,
it's not like the stuffy old way of doing it or
With
whatever
5
the old way
forks,
was
Right.
doing. But
yeah.
just because you set all the silverware out doesn't mean it has to be used. It's just fun. And
Yeah.
I think that people are really, really wanting that.
And I think people want different experiences too. Like,
Yeah.
is this al fresco? Are you throwing?
Yeah.
Or are we doing a picnic outside? Like, it's totally,
They're like really doing it up.
Y'all
Yeah.
got some really fun dinnerware additions, I thought, like especially the outdoor melamine.
Yeah, with the
pieces.
bamboo on
There's-
it is so cute.
There's a
And
tall one.
sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's so
Mhm.
many cute ones.
Yeah. Okay, the next one we're gonna let Will, because he was the one who.
Boy apartment. It's TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I just have seen this on Instagram because I'm old.
Well, you explain it.
We
Yeah.
saw this on TikTok with Ben Taylor, who is a influencer. But his apartment is immaculate. But he's just a single man, and it's no longer like a poster on the wall and like a table in the corner for you to eat dinner. And it is immaculately designed and decorated and really well thought out. Like you have textures and vintage furniture pieces and places for your collection of literally whatever. Your records are no longer in a little milk crate. They're in a beautiful antique credenza. It's really upscale living, but
But masculine.
But put it away.
for the men.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I would say that my apartment probably falls into this. It's very, very well articulated and very much my own style, which is really fun to see, like this masculinity of America coming into its own and being able to decorate how they like.
I love I do feel like we've been seeing lots of like libraries and library inspired stuff, but like that's one room. Here's like the whole apartment. So it's kind of interesting to see it like
And the closets. Some of these people have like immaculate shoe collections. Like they're sneakerheads, but like they've taken the time and like really built out a closet for it, and it's beautiful.
Well, and this is something, again, we definitely hit on to is the trend of just making every space useful. That's been a big change. We've watched, again, laundry rooms become a place to decorate and keep and have every space can be beautiful. And like you said, to the closet, it's no longer like a place for hiding stuff. It's how do I organize and display this so that I can utilize it and love
You're
it?
proud. You spend thousands of dollars on shoes. Like, why not make it look pretty?
Yeah.
Some do.
I mean, a lot of people apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. Hillary, do you want to talk about one?
I would rather talk about
I know which
modern
one. The one you like more. Go ahead.
So, well, Will's boy apartment, I'm probably the closest to modern prairie style.
No.
Which I think is great because it's this not movement, but there are more and more people that have chickens and growing their own food and like turning into like a farmhouse vibe. But this is more updated with like patinaed wood finishes and making kind of like all the things you use daily like special. Like keeping your glasses out because you're using them constantly, or putting a curtain on your island to like hide all this stuff, but keep it feminine.
It has like a casual.
Yeah, a casual, comfortable,
pretty,
ease.
like decorative objects that are everyday use that you're displaying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm just basing it off this photo, but like farmhouse, but
re-energized,
richer and more colorful and like no whitewashed. It's not whitewashed barn doors, but like that vibe, just the next level. Well, yeah, very European.
It is.
Like an Italian. Oh, well, it's like Nona Strega.
Oh, yes, which was also another name. Like, yes. Yes.
The foundations of this, actually.
Yeah.
Well, and something we've also been seeing a lot in regards to kitchens is nobody wants that cookie cutter kitchen anymore. They all want like their own personality shown in it, mostly through color, but through function and even selecting like your handles for all your appliances now. Like all those companies have where you can change those out and make them yours.
Have y'all been seeing all of the like the mosaic backsplashes coming back? I've been seeing so much of that in designers and
the Portuguese Delft tiles.
Yes, Delft tile.
There was a video on Instagram of this couple that literally made their own tiles and then hand painted them. I sent it to these two and I was like, y'all, what is going on?
It was really special.
It was pretty.
It was really special.
It was so beautiful, but it's just...
We obviously all have the same feet.
Interiors. I do like about it that it's really going against the like remodeling for resale value, because it's really the opposite of that. Like
totally.
Yeah.
Tile mosaics and backsplash are not for resale value.
Right.
To really, homes are
especially
just really
if you've
personal.
literally hand cut those tiles and fired them and painted them. It's just, I can't even imagine.
That's crazy. I mean, amazing, but wow.
Well, I love that modern prairie style, especially for the kitchen. Like that just feels so homey and it feels so special. Yeah. And I love the utility of like bringing out the bowls and just like throwing fruit in them and like keeping them out all the time.
It's livable. It's not sterile.
Accessible.
You're going to eat well if you go in that kitchen.
They definitely have a sourdough starter.
Yes.
Sure. They'll make their own bread. It's all good.
And then another one, which kind of is across the board, but as we've really talked about just everyone maximizing their homes, I think a lot of people have really been intrigued by, it's called Gothicore, and it's the same kind of as this Art Deco revival and this
Castlecore, which is really heavy wood.
Yeah, so I think just people are looking into historic kind of motifs and different styles that were thick and heavy and detailed. That again, for a while we were like, no,
right.
But again, just people are really like, well,
bringing that back.
Yeah, I want more of that. And so it's just an interesting take on, if some people love any of those styles, kind of like, and what they love about them and bringing them into their homes. So, so really those were the kind of fun ones that they named per se, but we really wanted to also talk about just some of the things that also we've been reading a lot about. And, we definitely pattern drenching, your wallpaper matches your headboard, wildly
might even be on the ceiling.
We have a very exciting collection.
We're doing it.
Yeah. Our Cotswold collection. So we've got,
which is straight from Europe.
We haven't talked about it on this podcast.
Oh, we haven't.
We have.
But it's a collection of matching wallpapers and fabrics. They're all made in England.
Yeah,
and they're really beautiful.
They are.
Yeah.
It's like that English layered. If you are loving that, the product we have coming out is great for that. And there's some good imagery too to help anybody who might be a little like scared. We've done it, so you can check it out.
Right. And it's not so scary once you get into it. Like it's a lot of pattern, but then it ends up becoming a backdrop for everything else.
Yeah, it's something designers have done for so long, but really there's not an easy way to do that if you are not a designer with a trade account, because there's no real source other than us now to where you can get, both. And you can use them together. You can use them separate. It's sort of like buying a pantsuit. Wear them together. You can wear them apart.
Yes, it's definitely part of that matching. But again, everything is still pattern drenching. So if you're excited about pattern, like keep going. Like the layering is still in. Animal print still solid. Animal motifs.
Yes.
Animal objects. It's everywhere.
Yeah. So you'll see quite a few, and even in what we have coming out too. Animals are just, again, such a happy. It's a way of looking at the world in a different, because they live here too, right? And they live in a certain way. And we attended Lee. Yep, I got it. Hold on.
Yep, I can't.
Edelcourt. She is Edelcourt. Anyway,
Swedish, I believe.
Okay. Anyway, she does a forecast too, just kind of speaking towards trends and stuff and what she sees coming. And it was actually this year, the theme was animalism, because she really looked at animals and the way they live and what can we learn from that. And it was a really neat perspective, and again, very cool and off. But it is true that animals bring us so much joy, even from pets. And we love animal motifs. So I think that's something that if like you're into, you can go ham. Like put the,
And
there's a quirkiness and a lightheartedness to anything that incorporates an animal.
Yeah.
That I think is fun.
Oh, she took it beyond that though. Like,
well, she did.
Snakes, so like snake skin, and us seeing even those types of like reptiles and things, which are not like the fuzzy bunny and stuff you see.
Not the sweet creatures.
Yeah.
Because even those motifs can be made into something that is marketable.
Yeah, and so the forecast was pretty cool, but it was definitely leaning towards 26, 27 and going into like where we're headed. So, but we definitely love animals. And then defined spaces. We've talked about this for years too. Really, open floor plans are still like too much space, like having little nooks and making those really, again, every space is special.
Making all of these giant voids just more comfortable.
Well, and kind of on that note too, we're also seeing a big pushback to going towards eat-in kitchens and banquette seating, and so like more and more designers are getting asked to put in banquettes and
like
more of a casual eating.
In the voids of spaces, like in your living room, where you have this corner that's just like a walkway that you walk through like time and time again. We're seeing these designers put banquettes in with like a little game table or a drink table, so it's even more additional seating in these spaces. And it's just like, I love it, because it's like, why didn't we think of this before?
Yeah.
And like the statement hallway is so important now, and then they're doing these statement gallery walls. It's not just pictures anymore. It's got objects and different textures. And like, you're not just doing pictures now. Like, you got to add the other things. And
the thing about when you're talking about floor plans and little nooks and stuff, the thing that's interesting, I think, is you really need a lot less space for certain things than you think. Like less space between your coffee table and your sofa. And the banquette is a great example. Like you can fit in a little seating area, whereas maybe 5 or 6 years ago, people would have felt like, oh, I need it to be open. I need it to feel spacious.
Right. But now it's like nesting.
The coziness is kind of the appeal.
Right.
Well, and kind of something we didn't talk about, but we've seen a lot, probably overheard it, is maximalism and people wanting to have all their stuff around them and like displayed. And I think that kind of speaks to it too, in a way, how people aren't so afraid to like have all their books out or all their collectibles or the things that they treasure out.
My coffee table is littered with stuff. It's all beautiful objects, but
again, lots of nature motifs too, obviously. We've always loved florals and being outside. And again, as we approach spring, we all know how much. And so there's a lot of
florals for spring.
Yes. But it's a very
groundbreaking.
It's a very
You made that joke last year.
Probably so. I'm gonna make it every
year. It never gets old. It's a classic. But it's a real feminine details are so important right now. And kind of like Will was saying, I think men have even embraced a lot more of these feminine details.
It's being comfortable. Like it's taking this idea of masculinity and just rubbing down the edges. It's softening it up. Like, and we see that through textures, especially.
Yeah. Like textures again, plasters, limestones. There's like what they're doing with ceramics these days, and we all know that hand look is just so important. Artisanal work and just celebrating those who are creating. And I know we're all into that right now. We all want something unique to us.
Well, like these plates that you did that are coming out, they're the Talia or the toile.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I thought they were porcelain plates, but they're melamine.
But having those motifs that somebody drew and is important. And again, just glass as well, colored glass. We've been talking about that. Swirls, dots, like whatever you can do. Has been really important. What else, guys?
I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but especially in upholstery, everything now is also highlighted with some kind of decorative element, like a fringe or a tape or a tassel. Everybody seems to want some kind of personalization. So that's been really big.
Yeah, I love that level of detail that we're seeing. Yeah, again, back to like every drawer handle feels a little special, or adding a tassel to anything, just kind of
lamps.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I really love that. So it seems like the roundabout thing is like really about adding your own personality into every corner and everything you see within your home, and not being afraid to put things on display.
Yeah, it is like it's your home. Like people want that personality.
Yeah,
they want to know you live there and like who you are and where you've been and what you love. I think,
right, and your guests want to know that too,
right?
Like,
right?
I mean, I think having
I do.
beautiful items that tell a story about you help you bridge the gap when you have guests over, when it goes back to hosting.
Yeah.
You have topics of conversation where there was nothing in there, what would you talk about?
Yeah.
Just stare at each other.
Yeah. So really a collected home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fine things. When I say beautiful objects, it could be a rock that you found in some hike. It's just things that are meaningful to you.
Yeah.
From an architectural standpoint, curves and arches are definitely still in. We're seeing a lot of that still. The ceilings, again, being the fifth wall. Don't forget about the fifth wall. It's really important. Sculptural lighting. A lot of people are doing really special lighting, or the other fun part with lighting is we've seen a lot of LED rechargeable options.
Yes. We have the Callum, which I'm really excited about.
Let's talk about that because it's cool.
It was this antique store in the UK, and they had all of these beautiful old turned brass candlestick holders, and I was like, this would be cool as a little tabletop lantern. And again, I go back to hosting because that's where my brain typically goes. And I was like, these would be so beautiful on a table, so that if you can do it al fresco, or if you don't want all your overhead lighting on, you can turn these on and they emit a pretty good amount of light. And they also can take all of our chandelier shades and retrofit on there.
Love that.
Which I think is so fun, because then you could like tie your linens and things in with it. I'm really excited about that because for me, I think that having that very low light that's really sets the ambiance for my parties.
Yeah. And the rechargeable aspect of it makes it to where you can, you don't have to worry about an electrician. You just can
They
pop them wherever
last
you need.
several
Yeah.
hours, so I think it's a great idea.
The way you designed it to fit our chandelier shades is genius.
Yeah.
So
Well,
kudos
my
to you.
merchant was all about that. And after working with her, we really thought it would be like such a great way to customize it.
Yeah.
Because they come in brass and nickel,
Mhm.
which we talked about last year being like really taking off. So we've really been trying to beef that up.
Mhm.
And it's definitely, I'm sure anyone who listened last year and this year, like, oh yeah, I have seen a lot more nickel, because it's definitely, you can feel that coming back. Now that everything's brass, it's slowly
I love
coming.
nickel and brass together, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
And
nickel is a
mixed
really
metals.
warm. And I feel like we've talked about this last time, but nickel's a really warm, like silver tone.
Yeah.
So sort of like how sterling has that little tiny bit of like yellow in it that makes it feel warmer than a chrome.
I mean, it definitely does a really great job with
Mhm.
the mixed metals, I think.
Yeah.
Just talking about kind of fabrics or patterns, just fun checks and plaids, with true color in them are really in. Velvets and flame stitching is still really prevalent.
Flame stitch.
Well, you're in
Yeah.
luck. It
It's
is.
coming back.
Oh.
Yay!
So, and then I think just the biophilic way of designing, really focusing on nature and what's
Mhm.
best for your home is just really surged right now. Like, people want to live surrounded by things that are ethically made and resourced. And I think everyone's focus on health, and their health has really shaped how
Sustainability
people
also.
and sustainability, you're correct, has really shaped how people and what they're putting in their home and stuff. So that's gonna, and that nod to nature too. Just I think those go hand in hand. So again, the greens and the blues and that we naturally find, and these kind of earth tones that we're seeing, like it all kind of envelopes each other, so you can kind of paint the picture of where we're at, I think, right now.
We talked about the indoor garden movement, I think, probably 2 years ago now. And I think we are fully seeing it completely taken over like Jumanji. It is in every aspect of our product line, through lighting, case goods, you name it. It's the textures and applying those in a multitude of different ways. That's it's really making it more come to life.
Yeah.
The thing that's fun about it is that, you can use it all together and do that indoor garden, or you can just add a little touch here and there if you're into your room, if it is adding something like a floral lighting piece or a floral fabric. And so you can kind of bring it into whatever.
Nature inside.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. I keep saying that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some things that we've really seen come back, which are, again, kind of silly. So we're just calling them Resurgence. Brown, obviously, brown interiors, huge. We've seen there is a movement, which is kind of, we already talked about, but Castlecore. People have really gotten into castles.
Yes.
And like how people lived. And
Chandeliers are like really starting to make a resurgence. People are beefing up their lighting in like more fanciful way. Even if it's mixed with something like an extremely modern piece, it's just really nice to see these antiques that we would call them antiques come back to life in a totally different way.
Art Deco. You've seen a lot of Art Deco. I'm sure you guys have really seen a lot of those
with
shapes.
The burlwood too, which was super popular.
Art Deco I think is nice because it's in, it has that vintage feel, but it's also a very clean lined style in many ways. I mean, it's decorative for sure.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like, angular shapes, a lot of circles, and it's geometric. Yeah, very geometric, exactly. So it's a nice it's a nice way to blend something vintage with, kind of in the same way the classic Louis. It's like a little bit more cleaned up. And so it's a good piece to mix in with other things,
Yeah. And then another one that we read about was people are just intrigued with surrealism and kind of that movement. And so people are playing up their interiors with it, which is just fun.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think, and for us, I think you see it a lot too in our little products that we consider whimsical. It's like putting that bunny lamp somewhere, or putting a big red object somewhere in the room that's kind of like offsets such a clean room or put together area.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing a lot of this in like UK design where, it's almost like a big top sort of.
Yeah, you're tinting a room and literally tinting a room with either fabric or wallpaper to
and
make
primary
it
colors. Yeah. It's interesting that it's so like specific to the UK though. Or at least that it's maybe like a lot of UK designers. Maybe it's just my algorithm. I don't know. But I feel like a lot of UK designers do
You need
that,
a trip to the UK.
She does. She definitely does.
A research. Last year we did do an ins and outs little portion.
Oh, that was so fun.
So do we want to do an ins and outs? I mean, I guess we knew the ins. Anything that, now also I feel like we should make a little stipulation to our listeners that just because someone's going to say is out does not mean that you need to get rid of it. It does not mean that it's bad taste.
I'm sure we all won't agree.
You. Yeah. It's more just you are professionals and you are
based on research.
Yes.
If it makes you happy, keep it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you feel about navy, Will?
Yes.
Oh, well, so this year, I guess from last year's podcast to now, I have learned how to style navy.
Oh, wow.
So us going against what he said, he now figured it out.
So figured it
it's
out.
been a year.
Yes.
Shades of blue.
Shades blue.
I don't know.
Oh, I wasn't ready for outs.
Me either.
Or are there any trends that just didn't get traction?
Oh.
You know,
you talked about last year that they talked about last year, or
or things that you thought like, you know what, this could totally work, and then you know what, just fetch never worked.
I will say I'll take back scallops being out because I think they're still going to be in for a little bit longer. So it's not that they're out. I just think
they've definitely molded to a wave, like we talked about.
Yeah, they have, but I feel like that's still going to be.
I'm definitely over those. So.
It's still around for a little bit longer.
It's saturated, and I think, like all things, to the point that you're looking at it, depends on how saturated it is, right? Like someone like us, we've seen it.
Okay.
We're seeing scallops.
We see a lot. So for us, it feels like it's everywhere. And I think to some people who are just discovering it, there's going to be plenty of wonderful things out there for you to grab your piece and have that little piece.
You know what is in? I think a motif that is kind of taking a branch off from scallops is dental molding.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like if you think about it, very childlike, but the top of a castle.
Yeah.
It's very, we're seeing that in valances, table aprons, things like that. It's really fun, and it's in different, it's very geometric, whereas the scallop is super curvy.
I also feel like bobbin style is kind of like, I've seen it on frames or we have a bobbin style case good bedroom collection.
Yep.
So I feel like the bobbin is kind of like a little like
Definitely.
step off of the scallop.
It's kind of that, like, even polka dots are having like a weird.
Oh, there was
they're coming back.
Paris Fashion Week, I think. Some beautiful Jacquemus bags that I really liked.
Yeah, I love a Swiss dot. I feel like I've been seeing that more in fashion, and I am about it because I love a Swiss dot.
Well, I could be wrong. It probably is a Swiss dot. I don't know. But I just learned how to style navy. So
I was going to say, I still feel like I'm not ready for much gray, like a true gray, a gray paired with a color. Like even that is still, that's out.
I feel like it's
still.
got to have a color undertone, whether it's like a green undertone or a yellow undertone or
even a brown.
It's got to have some complexity. But yes, yes, we're definitely aren't, a whole gray home is still not a thing.
Definitely. I just, it seems like in the direction that we've been going, like that sterilization is still, that's not a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a couple years ago even, we would have still used a gray paint color, a very light gray paint color against colors. And now we are almost never suggesting a gray. It's more of a tan or a real creamy white, or it's just a light color of whatever.
Right.
Of a
it
color.
might even have like a purple undertone or you know a blue undertone. But yeah, they all have a color. to them to add that complexity. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think Chevron's back yet, though.
No, Chevron's not back. We're not ready for that motif.
What about herringbone? Because a herringbone is a little bit like a chevron. It's like, chevron's big brother.
I mean, I think with French country seemingly creeping back into existence.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that herringbone will come back too.
Yeah.
Especially with flooring. I mean, it was very, very popular for a long time.
True, with flooring, yeah.
I do think with where we're at right now, where like everything kind of goes, this kind of maximalist look, it is hard to say things are really out because I just think people are so creative with their homes these days that like something that we could even list, I'm sure somebody is doing very well, with. So it is a hard one.
So I guess minimalism out. The opposite.
There we go. Unpersonalized spaces.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
dusty corners you did nothing with.
We read, like getting prepping for this, was saying that people are really, really starving for uniqueness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like monotone is really hard to do well, and like in a neutral, like a white or gray or beige, it's really hard to do well. You can do it, right? But
Definitely.
it's hard. You have to have a really good eye. So,
but even
most of the time, unless you have a really good eye, it ends up feeling very flat and unpersonalized, very sort of, I went to
to conflict with
a certain showroom and just bought everything.
But I feel like we've talked to so many really fantastic designers that do neutrals very well, and a room might feel neutral at first glance, but you have to really, you have to really take a look, and like you'll find that there's multiple textures, that there's multiple colors that are playing subtly off of each other. And I think that's the key on how to do it. But yes, I agree. Like just monotone for the sake of monotone, I'm not there.
Right. It's just flat.
Flat.
Like I think I was reading an article before this because I really wanted to come back and be like, I just love beige, but I don't. And it was
for anyone listening, he hates beige.
About even if you're not a designer, you can do monotone, but texture is the key. Like everything having a texture, because it's the shadowing that is making it not look so flat or not flat at all. And even if you're not a designer, I think that if you really, really, truly believe that you need a beige house, you just make sure you have lots of texture.
But the misnomer, I think, with a monotone is that it's done well. It's not all the exact same shade, right? To what you're saying. You have to do varying
values,
shades of the same color, whereas the word monotone implies that it's all the same and all matches, and so I feel like that's where things get
then there's no depth, and it's just
and then it's flat. So I feel like the word monotone misleads people.
I take back
I think so too. I think so too.
And I just think the things that are out are like focused on something pristine. Like the focus is on comfort these days. Like everyone knows a home that is comfortable, and for everyone, even guest, is like the best kind of home. So
do you mean like staging? Like and when I say that as in terms of your house is like so immaculately perfect, it doesn't look like anyone lives there. It just doesn't
depersonalized.
Or if you just have a home that was built with a formal living space that you just have staged, don't do that. Like, how do you live? What can you do in there? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, this is my opinion. This is what I think people are just
totally,
if you're not going to sit in there or host in there, what can you do to make it so that it is a comfortable space that, you're not going to be like, oh gosh, we can only have adults over and drink white wine. Like, nobody's, that's what's out.
Right. Like roped off where you want to see the carpet lawn.
The
vacuum.
I don't have kids, so I do make everything a little fancier than most, and not all of my fabrics are performance, but I still, like, if you spill, it's okay. Like,
you have a dog, you have people over.
I have people
sometimes
over
grown-ups
and
are
dogs,
just as messy.
Well, I think what Taryn's point is like kind of what she said, but if you never host and you have a dining room, but you love to paint, turn it into an art studio
Yeah.
or turn it into like a craft room or
a library.
like
or,
make your spaces fit your lifestyle, not what they were
room.
necessarily
That sounds
built
so
for.
cozy.
Isn't that great?
Yeah. Comfort. It's really, that was something we kept reading is everyone's really designing for comfort right now.
Yeah.
We're all designing for stretchy pants.
I have seen, and maybe this isn't really a resurgence, but people getting rid of their dining rooms altogether because it's a room
I don't like this.
that wastes.
Yeah, we actually, the three of us talk about this all the time. Don't. But
we love our dining room.
I think people are
not,
doing it. I just don't like this idea.
I'm not saying like totally getting rid of it, but having it be multifunctional so that you have like a dining
that is fair
situation, but it's also could be like a living room.
Yeah. No, like I totally agree with you. My dining room is multi-purpose. It's, it's my office. It's the dining room. We actually host there. It's a homework spot. We have our Nolan bench, which is the curved bench at a 60-inch table. I mean, people have taken naps there. It's multi.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the last thing we really want to talk about was just some things we're really excited about for new product. Again, this is coming from the people who designed most of it, not all of it, but most of it, and just the things that we were really loving. So, Hillary, what are you excited about?
So these are like our babies, basically.
Yes.
Well, it being outdoor season, of course, we have a couple new collections that I'm really excited about. The Venice, which is like a smaller collection. It's dining.
It's so sweet.
And then a bench. And to capture that scallop detail, it kind of runs along
like
the base
on
of it.
Como.
Yeah.
I was thinking Palm Beach.
Either.
You can go either. Because it does come in two finishes.
I was
white
in my
and blue.
backyard. It's just so sweet because like those scallops that are on the seat, it's just so beautiful and it sits so well. So great job.
Well, thanks.
And there's some amazing umbrellas to go this season too. If you are looking for some fun umbrellas for your backyard,
oh my gosh,
there's fringed and taped, and you guys are going to love.
Instant vacation.
Different shapes.
Yes.
In your yard.
Yeah.
I bought 2 last year, and I still feel like I might be repurchasing this year.
Yeah.
Because there's some good ones.
This year we have
there's a blue
limited edition.
Yes, and I'm because they are limited. I'm very intrigued.
Okay, the Asher one that you designed is so clever. Can you tell everyone about that?
Yes. Well, let me backtrack. So we have a Sunday porch swing that has like the little tray table on it, and it's like their workhorse. You can put your drink on it, your glass of wine. So the Asher chaise has a removable tray table as well that attaches on, and then it swivels in and out, so you can get in and out of the chaise really easily without knocking over your drink.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
so genius.
That whole collection is so pretty, and it is so architectural.
Oh my gosh, the little gold finial on a black frame.
So it's a matte black frame with these architectural lines and then these kind of really regal, beautiful brass knobs at the ends. So pretty.
Thank you. I also must say that my merchant for this category is also a visionary, so she
is.
helps guide
Shout
a
out.
lot of these. Shout out.
You knocked out of the park.
But those 2 collections are very different, right? Like I think Asher is very tailored and clean. It is for a certain, and then Venice is so fun and whimsy, and I think that there's a place for both. It's so great.
We're going to talk about Newberry. So Newberry is a collection that I am so obsessed with, and I don't even really know why in the beginning, but it is this beautiful, is it tortoise?
Burnt
Taryn
bamboo.
So.
Yeah, the burnt bamboo and all of that, it's so beautiful. And we've all seen pieces, antiques, and loved it. And just, we've really come out with quite a few pieces. So no matter if you're a bedroom, living room, dining room, there are...
the whole tree this past weekend.
The whole tree is so good.
Really, it took some convincing because it was like, what are we going to do with this? And I'm like, everything. Dog leashes can go on that thing, wet umbrellas, boots, a little baby lamp is going to go on it.
Oh, yeah.
So statement hallways, back to that. You can. There's a piece
with
you
my
can
Margelica plates all around.
Okay, but the thing I love about Newberry is that, there are pieces for everything. Single room. Even like this weekend, I was really thinking about the wall shelf,
the wall bracket, or
the wall bracket.
Yeah,
so cute.
I was.
Oh, that's new. This
yeah, that's
season,
new.
Yeah.
That's new for spring. And
who doesn't love a bamboo wall bracket?
I was like, walking around my house figuring out where I could put that.
Are just really, really good.
Mhm.
And it brings a little bit of that chocolate brown into your
Yeah.
room that goes so
Mhm.
easily, like in a little touch.
For
Mhm.
me, I think it's a little nostalgic because I grew up with pieces like this in my own home and my grandparents' home. So it's just it's a really great collection.
So it's
So
natural,
I had to
that
brag
natural kind
on
of.
Taryn.
Yes. Good job, Taryn.
But the natural finishes are still in. Again, rattan, seagrass, again, that burnt bamboo. So I think, again, just that bringing that texture where you can into your home.
Right.
Speaking of texture, sorry.
No, go ahead. Speaking of.
Plaster
Yeah.
is still on the
Yes.
rise. We have this beautiful Catalina wall sconce, which I participated in designing, and it is so fun. In the beginning, I was really worried that translating it to our customer would be difficult because it's quite unique, but it is so fun and it's so fresh and it
It's got
really
palm
speaks
leaves. It's
to
fun.
that coastal chic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love the chandelier with that big drum shade.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It looks
Yeah.
so good. It is like such a big statement. I feel like on a breakfast table, in a dining room. It's just
Mhm.
it's really pretty with the blue shade. So
That's pretty.
yeah.
I was going to ask what your favorites were, Taryn.
There's a Davi bookcase, again, for somebody looking for something kind of beautiful and for either like to flank a door for your dining room. It's got these nice little, the handles are these floral little leaves, and the side has these beautiful kind of elements out of metal that look like leaves and stuff. So it's going to feel really ornate and special. Just being brass and white, it'll feel clean and crisp. And I think we'll go into more of a formal setting, but I think it'll be a pretty fun little
It's like
piece
part
of-
bookcase, part etagere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Kelly Performance Rug is super fun. It's got that soft wave kind of look that we've been talking about, and it's in these bright, punchy colors, and it's performance. So,
playful.
like, you can put this under your everyday kitchen table with your kids, and you'll still be able to get that out and really, punch up a room. Very playful. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I think we also use that one outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
Did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun on a
Covered
porch. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
The Cecilia mirror,
I love that.
really
Yeah.
took us
Oh, lovely.
took us a bit to get this one right.
It's
but
all glass.
the hand cut pieces are so pretty, and it's so
It's our take on a Venetian.
yeah.
Yeah. It
mirror.
looks like
And it's beautiful.
Get your money's worth with that one. I feel like it's
Yeah.
so
I
much.
saw one for like $15,000 in the store this
Yeah.
past weekend. It's like,
Well, I
geez,
mean,
ours
that's the
is
thing.
not 15,000.
But like the quality of it is so spectacular.
very
and
pretty in
It
person.
really does look like you
It's
like
like
scoured
you found this at
the
some
flea
antique
markets.
sale or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
Like,
It's gorgeous.
Okay, I'm not a pickleball player, but I am
Ooh, they're
excited
so
about
cute,
the pickleball. Yeah.
They're super cute.
my mom has
So
already
fun.
earmarked these for Mother's Day. She
Oh.
wants one.
They'd be great.
Check.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's an easy gift.
Yeah.
The Riley desk is really, I just wanted to highlight that because it's a beautiful mid-tone wood. Again, if you're trying to get wood into a space, and it has this beautiful star hardware that's
The
like,
hardware's really pretty.
the hardware
Yeah.
makes it
It's
really,
pretty.
Yeah.
really special. So I think you'll be really happy if you're looking for a nice desk to float in an office and really bring in those beautiful wood tones. It's a great, and the hardware.
It's also
is
just
killer.
a classic shape, the two drawers on the
Mhm.
side with the narrow drawer. We
Yeah.
have one like this shape. And it's been a nightstand. It's been an entry table. It's been a desk.
yeah.
It's like, it kind of can go
It's
anywhere.
going to travel with you
Yeah.
over the years. Yeah.
It's an heirloom piece.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
Okay. I'm also really excited about all of the fabrics that we're
Yes.
Ooh.
launching
Yes.
for this
Yeah.
spring, because we have over 30 performance fabrics, and like their patterns
Mm-hmm.
are some of them are outrageous.
Mhm.
But,
And I
like,
love it.
unique and it's fun.
Yes. And you'd never know that they're performance.
Exactly.
So I think that that's really fun too.
And so many of just the soft goods in general, the drapery, the pillows,
Mhm.
they're just like, yeah, I feel like all of the teams did such a good job coordinating to where all of the fabrics coordinate with all of the draperies. And it just like was such a seamless.
But it's not too matchy-matchy.
No,
No,
they're
no.
not
No, no,
matching
I just-
necessarily. They're
I meant that in
yes.
a positive way.
Yes, they just
Yeah.
they pair together so well. And there were so many times where we were trying to figure out what was going where in our catalog, like what we were showing together. And we were like, oh, but this could go here and here and here. And like, wait,
that's like the best.
Yeah. So
our color scheme worked.
Yes, exactly.
What's your color scheme?
But I did want to call out the Pharaoh wall cabinet. It was something I know Hillary worked on, but just speaking to those arches are still such in vogue. If you're looking for a nice little piece, little storage piece, it's a great way to get. Be great again in a little nook to keep things, or in bathroom. It's just a sweet little piece. So
the Hayward chair is also by Hillary, and it is so comfortable.
Wait, what is it? The Hayward chair.
Oh, it's rattan, isn't it?
It's really pretty rattan, and it is really comfortable.
Yeah, it's big. It's a good,
it's a good
comfy
armchair.
size. Yeah,
it is.
I really love that Addie chair. That's the
other rattan.
The other rattan chair.
The other rattan. Yes.
Well,
it's true. We have a lot of good pieces.
Yeah, the Hayward chair has sort of like an open arm. The Addie chair is fully upholstered on the inside with the rattan on the outside. So it just is like very. I don't know. There's just something about it that really speaks to me.
Yeah.
And we upholstered it in this fabulous stripe.
I saw pictures.
And it looks so good.
Good. Yeah. Oh, good.
And we also showed it in one of our Cotswold sort of teal, but it just looked good on everything. Yeah.
Hillary is a genius.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, I hope that helps everyone. Yeah, I hope it helps people feel like, they've learned something new, or maybe they're hopefully just influenced to be brave. I think that's, do it.
I'm really excited about that.
I feel like the listeners of this podcast are brave. So.
They are. That's true. If they're listening, they know.
Well, all of our new pieces are, I think, live now. We're recording this a little bit early, but I think everything is live, so you can go shop. So that's good.
There's some great stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
We just highlighted a few things. There was plenty more we wanted to cover.
Up.
Yeah. When we're already shopping before it comes in.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Well, I guess that's our show. Thanks.
Yay.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
And that's our show. You can find all of the show notes on our blog, howtodecorate.com/podcast.
To send in a decorating dilemma, email your questions to podcast@ballarddesigns.net so we can help you with your space.
And of course, be sure to follow us on social media at Ballard Designs.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback.
Until next time, happy decorating.